morning, Bucknuts. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, October 2nd, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm very happy to be joined by Alex Gleitman. Still strange to say we're in October already, Alex. September just flew by. Let's push it forward to this Saturday. Maryland coming to Ohio Stadium for homecoming. The Terrapins are a lot better than people expected this year. They're down to their fourth-string quarterback. They've had two quarterbacks get knocked out during game action. They had another quarterback who was hurt during camp. He's actually back now. Caleb Henderson, fourth-string quarterback Max Borgelschlager has taken over. I tell you what, they looked good against Texas. They looked good last week. Maryland, I still think Ohio State's going to win this game, but Maryland, I think, is going to provide a good test for the Buckeyes this Saturday, Alex.
Yeah. First off, I just want to say prayers to everyone out in Las Vegas. I don't know if everyone had the chance to see the news. I actually just saw it when I woke up that over 50 people are dead from a mass shooting outside a country music festival by the Mandalay Bay. So just wanted to say that.
Oh, my God. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, horrible way to start the morning. On to more positive things as we keep our prayers with everyone out there. I think I was shocked yesterday. I put up our weekly, every time the spread comes out on Sunday, late afternoon, I put that article up, and I saw 31 points for Ohio State as a favorite, which is more than they opened up against Rutgers, which was 29.5. And I was a little surprised at that. And I know some other readers in Bucknuts putting on the comments that they were surprised at that too. And usually though, when you see a spread that fishy, it makes you think that the Vegas knows something you don't. And it almost, obviously they're begging you to take the 31 points in Maryland, which makes you as an Ohio State fan probably want to, it should make you feel good about the game in the sense that Vegas thinks they're going to win by 31 or more. But that said, Dave, just going back to the X's and O's, yeah, Maryland's down to their fourth quarterback, but, they had a nice win over Minnesota. They obviously beat Texas early in the year. They're definitely a much improved team from a year ago. DJ Durkin, I think, has that program going in the right direction. They're doing really well on the recruiting trail. Will their new quarterback, will he, now he's played almost like a game and a half or so at this point, a little bit more than that, but like going into the Horseshoe, 4 p.m. game, so it should be a pretty decent crowd. It's not going to be a snoozer 12 p.m. crowd, but 4 p.m. game on Fox, you got Gus Johnson there. It's a little bit of a different environment for him, so I'm interested to see how he plays, but at the same time, I think it's more, can the Maryland defense slow down the Ohio State offense? And, I'll be interested to see that. But DJ Durkin has the program going in the right direction. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Ohio State. I think it's definitely going to be at least a close first half, and then we'll see what happens from there if Ohio State can take off or not. But I thought that point spread was a little bit interesting. I think it shows that Vegas is begging you to take Maryland, and usually when that happens, it goes the other way. So I would say that's a good early sign for Ohio State, but that doesn't mean that's how it's going to end up.
Gosh, I just turned my TV on, too. I'm just seeing this, too. At least 50 dead, over 200 injured at the Las Vegas concert, as you mentioned. So, as you said, Alex, thoughts and prayers for everybody out there. That's horrible. Let's move on and try and talk sports, even though that seems like not what's really important right now. JT Barrett working on the deep ball. They really, really focused on that against Rutgers. They played well all around against Rutgers, 56-0. We did our staff predictions. Some of us didn't think they were going to cover the 30-point spread. I think it was on the 29 by the time the game rolled around. They covered and smothered at 56-0. But let's focus on the deep ball. I charted JT Barrett threw 9 passes of 20 yards or more. Only 7 of them counted. There was a pass interference penalty, and there was another one that was called back. But I thought he didn't look perfect. He's never going to look perfect on the deep ball, but I think he is moving in the right direction. And you can't just say, this was a terrible defense. Rutgers has been playing some solid football on the defensive side of the ball. And I tell you what, it's JT's team. I was glad they worked on the deep ball, and I thought he looked at least, competent on the deep ball, Alex.
Yeah, and, I had the fortunate experience with the game being out in Jersey to be up in the press box and kind of get that view. And there's no doubt that, number one, he delivered some really nice balls. Including the pass to Paris Campbell that you mentioned that was it wasn't caught, but a pass interference got them set up. I believe it might have been their first touchdown. It was definitely one of Weber's touchdowns. But that was actually a really nicely thrown ball, and Paris Campbell should have actually came down with it despite the pass interference. But regardless, he threw some really nice passes. He's definitely more confident in squeezing the ball into tight windows and throwing it deep or throwing it up for Benjamin Victor or Austin Mack or whoever it may be to try to get a one-on-one ball. So that's good to see. I mean, at the same time, is he more confident because it's Rutgers and UNLV and Army, or is he more confident because he knows he has to do those things, in order to remain the starting quarterback, in order for Ohio State to win games, this season? So I'm curious to see as the games now progressively get tougher, in my opinion. Maryland at home, at Nebraska, which I'm anticipating we'll find out today if that's going to be a night game or not. And then, you get the bye week before Penn State comes to town. So I'm curious to see if he continues that, over the next 3 games as things get progressively tougher. The one thing I will say, that I don't know if fans could see necessarily on TV, but from the press box, it was very clear when there was time in the pocket and JT had to step up and I would say think and think about making a pass downfield in the middle of the field. A lot of his passes were to the sidelines and things like that. When he had to make a pass to the middle of the field, he's still a little tentative, hesitant, double clutching. I think just too much worrying about turning the ball over. And while that's a really important thing, for a quarterback not to be able to turn the ball over, you want to feel a little bit less hesitation. So that's something I think has gotten better from the beginning of the year, but you keep an eye on that moving forward because that just seemed very obvious to even Rutgers people and, people who didn't cover either Ohio State or Rutgers in the press box that I had conversations with. They all noticed the same thing. So that's definitely something to pay attention to moving forward.
Let's focus on recruiting now. 2018 class is close to getting wrapped up, but certainly is not wrapped up. Give us the latest, maybe the biggest recruiting story you're following right now, or recruiting stories, plural.
Yeah, look, it depends on, who leaves early for the NFL, who decides to potentially transfer and all those things, but we're probably looking at anywhere from 4 to 7 spots, 5 to 7 spots to finish off this class. The big story is on the defensive line where they have Jason Owe, Tyreek Smith, and Micah Parsons as 3 big targets remaining. I would say right now the focus is more on Owe and Smith. With Parsons, it's still Ohio State, Penn State with Nebraska behind them. To me, it could be a matter of who decides to take the kid and who doesn't at this point. With Tyreek and Jason, I personally think Ohio State and Penn State are going to split. So I either think Ohio State's going to get Smith and Penn State's going to get Owe, or vice versa. I don't think one school's going to get both. So I think you're looking there. On the offensive line, flipping over to that side of the ball, Jackson Carman is, target number 1, and I still think Ohio State's looking pretty good for him. Outside of that, the Buckeyes would love to add another lineman. I think they would prefer to be an outside guy versus an inside guy. Rasheed Walker from Maryland is a guy I would look at very closely. I know he's liked Ohio State for a long time. There's been a lot of questions. Would they take him? Would they not? Well, I know for a fact they absolutely would take him. And maybe the good news for Ohio State is that Penn State, at this current moment, and that could change, is full. So that means the perceived favorite, Penn State, for Rasheed Walker, right now, if he wanted to commit there, he could not, because they are full at the offensive line position and they're focusing on the defensive line and a couple of other different positions. So that could be a good thing for Ohio State moving forward. I believe he was at Virginia Tech this past weekend for their game against Clemson. He'll be at Ohio State for the Penn State game. So that's a huge opportunity. And then, I would say those are the 2 big areas of focus for Ohio State. Outside of that, there are definitely a number of other prospects that are on the radar. Cameron Babb will make his official visit to Ohio State for the Penn State game. I would look for him to be on commitment watch, even though he tells me he wants to go visit LSU and USC after that. But I think Cameron Babb could be wrapped up to Ohio State after his official visit in October. And then, there's still Anthony Cook out there, cornerback. There's a couple other defensive backs they're looking at. They might be looking at another linebacker. And then, there's always kind of sleepers at the last minute, whether it's Ohio kids who they kind of come back to, or just guys who pop up on the radar at the last minute. Every year, like at this point last year, nobody was talking about Pete Werner being in Ohio State's class. So, and the kids already seen the field. So I think there will be at least 1 or 2 kids like that pop up toward the end of the year. And so it's going to be an exciting stretch run for Ohio State, to finish out this 2018 class.
Great insights, as always, from Alex Gleitman. Thank you very much, Alex, and thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.